So I'm going to be doing the third extra credit TED Talk video synopsis. So to start out, pretty much the video covered the concept of LGBTQ plus conversations and diversity conversations and gender and sexuality with children and young adolescents, and the importance of having those conversations and just exposing them at a younger age rather than having to be exposed, say, junior high, later adolescence, and high school age. It also discussed the repercussions of not exposing the kids to different diversity conversations and sexuality conversations at a young age, because then when they do get older, into their teens and late teens, and they do end up discovering that through their own communities, it is a lot more difficult to understand it without any of the definitions and any of the people supporting them if they are part of those communities. And it also discussed how showing diversity in a more joyful manner and in a happy setting, instead of having to be exposed in like a harmful scenario or in a shameful type of concept or realm of being exposed to, is a lot more easier for them to digest it rather than being exposed to it, being bombarded and things like that, just so that they can understand that it's not necessarily a bad thing to be a part of the LGBTQ plus community, or to be different, or to have a different sexuality or a different gender or different things like that, so that they understand that what they're feeling, or if it's not even them, or if someone within their community, someone that they know, someone around them is feeling that way, that it's not a bad thing to feel that way. And she also discussed how it was important to discuss the matters of gender sexuality with kids, because she showed the statistic that children have found their gender identity at the youngest age of 4 years old. So a lot of people, they just kind of brush it off and think that it's a phase, they let them be kids, things like that. But she actually goes into how that's actually, yeah, okay, yeah, let kids be kids, but kids actually understand who they are at the youngest age of 4. So exposing them into things like the topics of LGBTQ plus and gender and sexuality will benefit them in the long run to try and understand themselves or people around them. And it also discussed how it's important because it helps them understand social and emotional development a lot better when they are exposed to it at a younger age, because they are not bombarded with it at an older age, and so that they understand it when they are 4, 5, 6 years old rather than being 12, 13, 14, so that they can develop it over time and in the correct time period that it takes for them to digest it, instead of being at an older age when they're exposed to a lot more different communities, a lot more different peers, junior high, high school, things like that, which already comes with a lot of social changes within itself. And it also discussed how exposure um, to them without being bombarded with the feelings and emotions that at more difficult stages like puberty or entering high school and junior high, it's a lot more easier to digest when they're 4, 5, 6 years old, instead of being 12 and 13, because they are already going through other things. And the speaker educated the public about these concepts through YouTube videos on a blog she posts, and she pretty much discussed how she puts it in very simple forms, so that even from the ages of 4 to 84, anyone can understand what she is trying to say. And she puts it in concepts through metaphors and through songs and very simple definitions, so that it's not overwhelming concepts that is very hard to understand, but it's more easier, so that people that are totally unfamiliar, unaware of concepts that come with gender, sexuality, LGBTQ, can be exposed to them at a more easier and understandable pace. And she also said how the concepts being put in easy to understand scenarios for kids and older people is a lot easier, so that they can compare the concepts and definitions and things that they're learning to what they're actually going through at their personal stages in life. And by reinforcing the topics being a joyful and happy experience of learning through them and understanding them, is a lot more beneficial than something that they should be ashamed of, which is unfortunately what a lot of people have to go through, is being ashamed of who they are or who their friends or family members are. And so understanding that is not a shameful thing, and that it is okay to be who you are, at a younger age will help reinforce and help them grow at a lot of a better stage than if they didn't. And some of the unfortunate statistics that she did bring up were that transgender kids are 6 times more likely to attempt suicide than heterosexual or straight kids. And similar to that, gay kids are 3 times more likely to attempt suicide than heterosexual and straight kids, which is really unfortunate. And she said that a large part of that is due to them not being exposed to the concepts and understanding themselves at a younger age, and instead having to be bombarded with it at a much older age in adolescence, and on top of that, not being supported by, let's just say, their parents, siblings, family members, and peers. She also said how 1/3 or 33% of the homeless youth in America is gay, and a large part of that is having to be with a lot of people just not supporting them. So these videos that she makes are not only for children, but can also be watched with their parents or with their guardians, so that not only do the kids understand, but also the parents, so that they can both learn at the same exact time how it is important to expose them at these different stages in life. She also expressed that the negative consequences that children and teenagers face when they don't have a very clear sense of identity is that they feel very lonely. They feel like all these feelings are themselves. They're going through this alone in life. And she wants to make the videos and post the different things that she does to make them known that they are not alone, and that these feelings have been developed by plenty of other kids in the past, and that their feelings are not they're not alone in the feelings, and that they should be having discussions and different things with other people, whether that's a therapist or their parents or people around them. And then using the information from the textbook to kind of support what the speaker was saying about understanding LGBTQ plus concepts and feelings, is that the identities can be better understood when hearing it from someone who also went through the same thing, instead of hearing it from someone who is heterosexual and is not going through or did not go through what the child or adolescent is going through. And it also said that parents can show the kids that it's not a negative thing to be LGBTQ plus, or to be from a different gender or a different diversity, or to be different, and reinforcing that it is not a bad thing, but it's a good thing to be different, and it's normal. A lot of other kids go through it. As I said, like 33% of the US goes through it, at least 33%. And it pretty much just reinforces that they need support and love no matter what, in order for them to grow up knowing that what they are or what other people around them are is okay.